What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is November 27th of 2017. Well, folks, today we have a very large topic to talk about here on the DataDash channel, and in fact, it's a topic that many of you out there in the DataDash community have asked me to cover for quite some time. We're going to be talking today about the controversy and questions tied towards a very popular cryptocurrency used on a variety of exchanges by investors and traders. Today we're going to be talking about the 21st largest cryptocurrency ranked by market capitalization, and it is no other than Tether or USDT, as you might have heard about it on exchanges. So today we're going to be talking about Tether and answering a lot of the questions that many people have. As you all know, there's been a recent hack on Tether and it's brought it back into the headlines. And a lot of people are still reminiscent over the past few months of controversy and questions tied towards the currency. So today I want to be as informative as possible and talk about a few different things. First and foremost, what Tether is at its core, at least what it claims to be. And along with that, a lot of the speculation and information that's come about in the cryptocurrency community. And I'm going to be linking down all the sources that I've used for this video down in the description, so you can take a look for it by yourself and see whether or not you have any general fear from this, or if you think it's at the end of the day just FUD and it's just speculation and conspiracies. Again, I'm not here to claim anything today. I'm just simply sharing information, trying to break things down as I always do, and help you all get a better understanding about the issue. Okay? So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So first and foremost, it's important that all of us watching understand what Tether is at the end of the day. And I know many of you out there have asked, Nick, what is Tether? And for those of you out there who kind of get what Tether is, understanding it's a cryptocurrency, but many ask what the difference is between Tether and the US dollar, because it seems like they're very close together. And they are, if that's what you're thinking. So today, I'm going to start off very simple and very neutral, and I've taken a quote from the website, on Tether's own website, right here on the slide, and I'm going to read off the description that they give for really what Tether is. Tether is built on top of the revolutionary and cryptographically secure open blockchain technology and adheres to strict security and global government laws and regulations. All tethers are pegged at 1-to-1 with matching fiat currency. Example, one tether equals $1. And they are backed by 100% by actual assets in our reserve account. As a fully transparent company, we publish a real-time record of all the value held and transferred in and out of our reserve account. Tethers can be securely stored, sent, and received across the blockchain, and are redeemable for cash, the underlying asset, pursuant to Tether's limited terms of service. Oh, it sounds pretty interesting. So it's this whole system basically at a very base level of understanding. Tether itself is a way where you can basically hold the dollar in a cryptocurrency asset known as Tether. So you basically have ownership of a dollar somewhere stowed away in a bank account that is run, or at least managed in a sense, by Tether Limited, this company that has created Tether. And they've created it. I know many of you probably are curious about how they built this on what blockchain is it. Is it its own blockchain? Well, they built this on top of what's known as the Omni protocol. It's a layer on top of the Bitcoin blockchain that allows you to simply kind of securitize certain assets and currencies. In this case, they created a digital asset for the dollar. So you can have practically ownership again. So for every Tether in circulation, you basically have a dollar that's stored away in a bank account somewhere. So it's a way that you can trade it without having to go through exchanges, as we'll talk about. That's the big reason. But basically, from this description, it's quite easy to get an understanding of it. It's basically a way that you can hold the dollar in cryptographic format. So let's go ahead here, and we'll be diving through some of the things that they mentioned in here as we go throughout the video. But first and foremost, as always with coin coverage videos, I always tell you all about the supply. USD Tether supply is around 700 million. It's been growing exponentially over the past few months, ever since May of 2017. More trends actually around June as well. But Tether's been around since 2015, and really the rampant kind of growth in supply has been over the past few months when cryptocurrencies have become more popular. And this generally makes sense to a degree. There's been more use of cryptocurrencies and trading of cryptocurrencies, so there is a higher demand for liquidity. But we're going to talk more about the supply later on. So first off, Tether's core principles. So basically, this is generally just a quick summary for those of you out there who want it more brief. Tether serves as a cryptocurrency asset that supposedly has a US dollar backed behind each coin in circulation. So if there's a Tether, there's a dollar stowed away, supposedly. It's a cryptocurrency issued on top of the Bitcoin blockchain via the Omni protocol. And remember, I'm going to flash a photo of the website if you don't want to take a look at it later in the slideshow. And along with that, the main purpose of it is to be primarily used as a tool by investors and traders when they're trading Bitcoin. So this is why you see USDT, Bitcoin on Bittrex. You see it on, I think, Poloniex as well, Bitfinex. All the exchanges out there practically have Tether comparative trading with Bitcoin. So it's a way that you don't need to go all the way. Let's say, for example, I wanted to cash out. I was a trader and I made $1,000 on my Bitcoin holdings. I wanted to cash out, but I don't want to go through Coinbase and pay the ridiculous fee that I know they're going to charge me. Well, this is where Tether comes in. It's a way that you can do it on exchange. You can still technically hold almost an ownership in dollars and then later buy Bitcoin if you wanted to buy it. So you don't have to go to the exchange if you know you're going to be, continuing to trade Bitcoin. So it seems like a very great practical tool. It sounds fantastic on paper. And really, at the end of the day, they said that they're, a fully transparent company. You can go check how much they have on their books. It seems really good. However, this is where we really have to go towards the more speculative side. As much as I want to sit here and be as positive as I can on Tether, there isn't really much positive upside to it. It's not like other cryptocurrencies where, this could be seen as value to something more over time. Not really, because it's pegged to $1 at the end of the day, supposedly. So we're going to go ahead and kind of get towards more of the controversial speculative side. Again, remember, I have all the resources down in the description. I want to keep this as informative and open as we can. And again, also be specific at the same time talking about certain things. So let's go ahead here. And remember, you can always check out the Omni website if you want to learn more about that. Not really relevant at this time, but again, we want to talk about the growing fears here, okay? This is really what the controversy is around. So keep in mind as well, Tether Limited is what runs Tether itself. So they add new Tether to the supply of the overall circulating supply of Tether. This isn't a decentralized currency. Keep that in mind. They are responsible for keeping a 1-to-1 pegged ratio of dollars to USD Tether. That is supposedly what they claim on their website and their white paper and everywhere that they've generally talked about USD Tether. So that's basically the concept there. It's a centralized company. So this means that we have to manage and watch the practices of these companies. We have to keep them on track because, if they just, print a ton of USD Tether out of thin air, that'd be a really big issue. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the worries and concerns as well as some of the connections that people have found. And I want to first and foremost say that I have not found the mass majority of this. This was, and mostly in part, found by people like Bitfinex and other people in the community who have been discussing this. It's been a growing community that's been talking about the Tether issue for quite some time, okay? So first off, a rapidly increasing supply. So we took a look at this at the beginning of the video, and now I have a little more of a stretched out chart. So you really start to see it kick into high gear over the course of 2017. So the Tether supply over time was relatively small. It's been around actually for a decent amount of time. It was founded in 2015. And as you can see, the supply here was relatively low. There was basically no Tether in circulation. And then along the beginning of 2017, you start to see a real addition of Tether. So you can see, as we have the numbers listed over here, we had around $1 million supply back in January 2016. In January of 2017, an entire year later, and only an increase to 15 million. And then practically halfway through the year, not even all the way through another year's course, we're already up to 320 million. And then still, without even reaching January of 2018, here in November of 2017, we've practically reached over 700 million Tether. So the growth is getting exponential. You can see it right here. The chart's been blowing up. Now, a lot of people would make the argument, this is actually a very fair point, that as crypto markets continue to have more traders and investors in them, you need more liquidity. You need more cash flow coming through. You need more dollars to circulate through so you can, trade for the increasing value of cryptocurrencies. That would make general sense. However, this has been rapidly expanding, and for one single, company, Tether Limited, to be able to get this kind of capital, remember we have to keep towards the rules that they have $1 backed behind each of these. This would mean that within the course of less than a year, they've been able to increase the supply from January 2017 to November of 2017. They've been able to increase the supply by hundreds of millions of dollars. So that means it's stowed away in a bank account somewhere according to their rules, supposedly. So Again, keep that in mind here. This is quite rapid expansion. No single company that I can think of can go out of its way to get hundreds of millions of dollars like that and stow it away in a bank account for some cryptocurrency. Especially as we look at the terms of services later. Now, that's definitely what gets kind of worrying. Now, this goes in line with what we were just wondering about, having the money in reserves. Well, if you don't know what auditing is, it's in very simple terms, it's a way that, a third-party company comes in and they check the books. They check to see if you've got everything in account, you've got the money there, everything in the sense of your financials. And really, there's been a lack of auditing with Tether in this case, or Tether Limited. So let's go ahead and take a simple look at this. Tether states on their website that, and this is directly a graphic from their website, that Tether is transparent. Our reserve holdings are published daily and subject to frequent professional audits. All tethers in circulation always match our reserves. Now, again, a lot of this is sounding like repeat of what we've heard about earlier. But they also have a new part in there that we haven't talked about yet, that they've been subject to frequent professional audits, okay? So if that's the case, they've probably gone through some audits and we don't have to worry about it. That obviously means they've had people come and analyze their accounts and made sure that they actually have the cash to back up the tether that they're, printing out and, distributing into the circulating supply. When in reality, Tether has not conducted an official audit. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to be completely conspiracy theorist here. If this project was 2 or 3 months old, and it had maybe like $10 to $15 million in circulation, or USD Tether in circulation, I wouldn't be too skeptical about this. I really wouldn't. At the end of the day, I would not, go out of my way to criticize this, and I'd say, give it time, let them go through an audit. Audits don't happen overnight. That's fair. But Tether's been around since 2015. And this is a company which is claiming they have over $700 million in reserves in a bank account somewhere, or multiple bank accounts, whatever it may be. And they have yet to go through an official audit yet. That's quite concerning. I got to say, there's not too many companies who can say that they have this much on their balance sheet and not go through an audit. So definitely concerning, especially something that's claiming that it has over 700 million US dollars. Now, a lot of people out there in the Tether community would probably, start arguing against me. Nick, they came out with an audit by Friedman LLP, which is an accountant and advisor service, and they've come out and they obviously proven you wrong, Nick. They have an obvious audit report right there. Well, it's actually not an audit report, and Bitfinex covered this on his one of his Medium blog posts and stuff when he's looking into it, and it's actually what he claims as an internal memo. So there's no actual financial reporting on liabilities. It states very generic statements, and even Tether Limited themselves came out and stated that this is not an audit. So there still has yet to be an audit. Even Tether claims that. So we haven't gone through an official audit. There's a company that's claiming to have $700 million. Of course, nothing, I would say right off the bat, that seems criminal, but it seems very suspicious. So again, keep that in mind. Just one of the many things that we're going to look at. Another thing is wash trading. So for those of you out there who don't know about wash trading, this might seem a little bit confusing, but this is something we should definitely talk about. Another thing credited to Bitfinex for finding, Bitfinex found that there was actual evidence of wash trading going on. And today I'm going to be explaining to you what wash trading is, because it's important to understand what it is so you can understand how Tether would be using this. So I have a description here on the left-hand side, and I'll read through it and I'll break it down for you. Wash trading is the practice of purposely buying and selling a stock, commodity, or currency, in this case cryptocurrency, at a specific price through either a single exchange or multiple exchanges in aims to manipulate prices. So, in very simple terms, I think the description does a pretty good job of defining it, but basically it's one or multiple parties who are connected or colluding with one another, who are working on either one exchange or a variety of exchanges, and they're continuously placing sell orders for something they own at a certain price and buying it at that certain price. So basically, it's a fake market order in a sense. You're plugging in something you know is going to get bought up either by yourself on another account or another exchange, or by someone else out there in the trading space you're colluding with. So why would USD Tether use this? Well, we've seen this ironically on the one exchange, Kraken, that allows you to transfer USD Tether to US dollars. It's the only exchange out there. And on this exchange, we can see clearly that there are sell and buy orders coming through that are showing signs of wash trading. Now, before I dive into that, why would they want to use this? Why would they want to do it? It's the first logical thing you should ask yourself. The reason being is because they want to, in my opinion, at least what I've observed, is maintain a sense of trust. A trust of a lot, in the sense that there is always people exchanging USD Tether for US dollars. So there's that kind of connection. It shows that, see, people are obviously showing trust in it. They're obviously showing that USD Tether can be transferred to your US dollars. So no fear here. Well, at the end of the day, you can see right here in this video, this is a video from Bitfinex's channel. I turned it into a little GIF here, and you can see the sell orders continue to come through and buy orders. And ironically enough, there's a lot of small little orders here with the same exact numerical values, 5.52 repeating or continuing on from there, and the same exact values coming in. Not to mention, they're all coming at the same time as well. And eventually there's buy orders that come in to match a multitude of those orders. So you can see here we have the orders here for 5.5, and then eventually you'll have a buy order come in that says 16.5. So simply do the math there. You have the buys coming in to meet those sell orders, and they're meeting at the pre-agreed prices and stuff. This is what's known as wash trading. And I don't know if I made it clear yet, not only does this sound very scummy, it's illegal on US exchanges to do this. Now, keep in mind, Kraken, all these crypto exchanges, they're very underregulated, they're very new, and because of that, things like this go unattained. No one covers it. It's nice to see people like Bitfinex covering this, but this is going on on Kraken from time to time with the USD Tether trading. And you can go watch the video for yourself. I have it linked down below, but this is concerning. There's a reason it's an illegal practice. It's because it's market manipulation. And you don't have to just do it to maintain a certain price. You can do it to lead towards buyouts, for sell-offs, or people buying into something to increase the price, or selling off, lowering prices. You can do it both ways. So it's very, very concerning here that this is going on with USD Tether. The only exchange, ironically, where USD Tether is transacted to US dollars. Again, very concerning thing as well. Legal policies. And this is something that I think most people know about if they've looked into the Tether situation. It only takes going to look at their website and their terms of services. And the legal policies of their terms of services, these are actual quotations from their website. I haven't touched them outside of putting some underlines into certain parts. Let's go ahead and read through them. Once you have tethers, you can trade them, keep them, or use them to pay persons that will accept your tethers. However, tethers are not money and are not monetary instruments. They're also not stored value or currency. The big part that stands out in that is the fact that they state that there's no stored value, because there is supposed to be a stored value. There's supposed to be $1 backing each one. But let's continue and read on. There is no contractual right or other right or legal claim against us to redeem or exchange your tethers for money. We do not guarantee any right of redemption or exchange of tethers by us for money. There is no guarantee against losses when you buy, trade, sell, or redeem tethers. At the bottom part, the reason why I didn't underline it is it's understandable to state that there's no guarantee of losses when you buy, trade, or sell tethers. However, it is concerning to say that you can't redeem tethers, and as they stated in the bigger quotation, they don't guarantee any right of redemption or exchange of tethers for money. So, at the end of the day, if that's the case, if no one's going to be withdrawing tethers from the accounts and stuff to US dollars, if they don't have a right to it, they could really, so long as that audit doesn't come through, continue to print as many tethers as they want. So, very worrying. This is, again, it's supposed to be, as they stated in many cases, a redeemable system, or at least what many people misinterpret is that it's a redeemable system. So, I don't know. It's very worrying here that they have these kind of legal policies in here, and they say that supposedly these quotations involve worries of money laundering and things of that regard. Maybe, I don't know, but to be fair, it's just it's genuinely concerning to me at the end of the day. But again, there's much more controversy out there to be debated over this one thing. But definitely look into it, read it for yourself and stuff. Again, I have the link down below. The hacks don't stop. This is something that mostly has probably led a lot of you to understanding, or at least looking into Tether recently. Tether claimed to have a recent $30 million hack. into the Tether Treasury wallet. And there was over 30 million, almost 31 million Tether stolen. So this obviously shows that there's some security flaws. And this was stolen from a multi-sig wallet that they had, the Tether Treasury wallet. And right now they're still supposedly working to correct the situation and figure out what's going wrong. Now, for some odd reason, when they posted an article talking about what had happened and how much Tether had been stolen, they removed the article later. But what was really cool, I think, is CoinDesk or Cointelegraph, where I got this from, and I'll link it down in the description. They have this piece right here, not to mention they actually have the actual archived article that you can go to and you can go see. But this was the main quote, that around 31 million Tether was removed from the Tether Treasury wallet on November 19th of 2017 and sent to an unauthorized Bitcoin address. As Tether is the issuer of the USDT management asset, we will not redeem any of the stolen tokens, and we are in the process of attempting token recovery to prevent them from entering the broader ecosystem. So they don't want wherever it got sent to be distributed towards a variety of different wallets and being used for wrong purposes or anything like that. Again, going back to the worry of money laundering. Okay, so this is, honestly, at the end of the day, the reason why I titled this "The Hacks Don't Stop" is because there's always hacks in the cryptocurrency space. This is not something we should just hit Tether on. This is something that has happened everywhere. However, it's how they're handling this and what they're doing during a recent hack on November 19th that is quite concerning and very, at least in my opinion, no matter where you stand, highly unprofessional. So let's go ahead here to the next slide. So Tether states that nearly $30 to $31 million worth of its digital tokens have been stolen after a hack. Okay. Well, why is it that on the Omni Explorer, where you can go see anytime when they add new tethers, that they've recently, over the past less than a 24-hour period, over last night and today, added 50 million new USD Tether. Just like that. They've created 50 million Tether. Now, there's a lot of things that rush through my head here, first and foremost. I think it's just generally highly unprofessional to do that, not to mention when you just had a hack. But this is in itself stating, if we're following off of Tether's basis, that there is a bank somewhere that has granted them the money to continue doing this, even with the hack of 30 million Tether. And whether it was beforehand or afterwards of the hack that they were granted this money, that bank does not want their money back. That, in fact, it's still in the reserves of Tether, and that they are happily printing out new Tether, millions by the past few hours, into new circulation. Interesting enough. That's the biggest thing to me. The biggest question I would ask is, why more than anything, even if they have the money in reserves, if they do actually back it up, why are they creating 50 million new Tether when they haven't even come out and made a clear statement as to whether or not they've, fixed the issue with their multi-sig wallet or however they got hacked, and then also brought any resolution to Tether holders? Because that's a concern for the thousands of people who own Tether, who own hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Tether out there. So I don't get why they aren't transparent about that. Again, a genuine concern to keep in mind. And to be fair, I'm not going to be the only one talking about this. There's people out there on many article sites, many YouTubers, many people in the space, they're going to start talking about this. It's not just me, folks. It's not just some kind of conspiracy. People are getting a little bit concerned. This, more than anything, I think, should be a cause for concern. The fact that they're so eager to print more Tether without coming out and stating how they fix the issue. So, again, if you want to read the article, link it down below and stuff. But again, very concerning stuff. More Tether, higher Bitcoin. Another correlation that Bitfinex has found, and I give him high credit for, is the fact that over time that he's continued to add all of the Tether increases in supply over the Bitcoin price over time. So you can see here, all these markings are different drops, kind of money drops of Tether, where they've added new Tether to the supply. So you can see here they have some large ones, some $80 million ones, some small ones like 20 million. The first one was 10 million, 120 million right here during the correction back in September, 230 million, and then 50 million extra right here just over the past few days. So, we can get a little bit speculative here. This is something, of course, that's, could just be coincidence, not something that I would get extremely worried about, but it is ironic that the mass majority of when they add Tether is when pullbacks are occurring. So for example, 60 million here, there's a pullback. Over this long period of time, when Bitcoin's going through a general pullback, hundreds of millions of Tether created. Over here, the China FUD kicks in, Bitcoin pulls back, 120 million Tether entered into circulation. Over here as well, a lot of the larger periods where this was added was either down here or when the pullback came into fruition. And then we have up here at the peak, 50 million new Tether created. So of course it doesn't always happen on sell-offs, but it coincidentally happens a lot on sell-offs. That's the part that I found really interesting. And of course, if you're curious about the colors, as he states here, red and blue are just alternating Tether cycles. It's just so you don't get them mixed up. But they're general cycles that are correlated together in a certain period of time. As you can see, there's big gaps in between here for the additional Tether. So again, maybe just an odd coincidence, who knows? But it's ironic that it happens a lot when there's market pullbacks. So. And last but not least is a lack of communication. This more than anything kind of upsets me because I've watched many videos and interviews with Tether. I've heard audio clips where they're talking with different individuals. They also had someone from the Tether-based community, it was one of the big communities for Tether that was doing an interview on Off the Chain, Jimmy Song's channel, and they had Bitfinex on there as well. And they were saying that they're very open about communication. They haven't answered a lot of the questions that are out there in the community. And these are just some of them that I have, some that many other people are wondering as well. When will the audit be conducted for Tether? How many funds do they have? Where are those funds? And are there any liabilities, etc.? We should know this information. This is a multi-$100 million cryptocurrency, for Christ's sake. I mean, this is really worrying. Along with this, where does Tether bank and under what jurisdiction? This is something that Bitfinex has asked on his website, and I think it's a very fair question as well. Why are more Tethers being created, 50 million over the past few hours, right after the $31 million hack? Just days after, folks. This isn't, months after and they've resolved everything. Nope. They added 50 million more. Has there been any progress towards correcting the hack or preventing future ones? I think this is an important question to ask both for exchanges, for individuals who are currently holding Tether, and then also just for the sake of showing that you're a stable company and to draw on more banks to give you more capital for more Tether, you should be pretty clear about whether or not you've figured out how you got hacked, and then also how you're going about correcting it and keeping it from happening in the future. Because we'll learn that Tether not only has had this recent hack, but the people who are tied to Tether have had a bad history of hacks as well. And last but not least, are there any fears or worries of a government cracking down on Tether being backed by the dollar? Now, this is something I have to credit to Crypto Investor, one of my favorite YouTubers out there in the space for trading and investing. He brought up this very good point about how Tether itself is claiming to, be backed by a dollar. And even if it is, at the end of the day, if everything is foolproof, there is a genuine worry that a government would not like that. And I couldn't doubt it for a second that they don't like it. And if they were to come in and shut down this centralized company, money goes away. Bye-bye. Tether's gone. If it can't be used on exchanges, there's no rendered value. Doesn't matter if there was a dollar backing it or if there wasn't. So that's a very genuine worry as well. That's something we haven't really even talked about. But I'm curious if Tether would have a response to that more than anything. So again, we've talked about a lot of things here today. I'm sorry if it seems like a little biased on it, but the more and more I dug into research on it and the more time I spent on it, I spent the past few days really looking into it, I've gotten more and more worried about it. And as Bitcoin moves higher and higher, and as we see the correlation in price, not to mention just a lot of unanswered questions, this has gotten me genuinely worried. And I know there's many of you out there who use Tether on a daily basis. So that's why I wanted to be clear, transparent with you all. And for those of you who are confused about the topic, at least explain it and break it down in the sense of all the controversy and what Tether is, okay? So the next part we're going to be talking about, as I said, there are connections tied to this, or potential connections. The Bitfinex connections is going to be part 2 of this topic. A lot of people, as you all know, probably know Bitfinex. A lot of people in the community have been tying all these issues with Tether to Bitfinex because Bitfinex has a lot of the people, as there's been a lot of documents recently relating the two. There's been a lot of documents relating the ownership and leaders of Tether being tied to the leaders at Bitfinex. So, very interesting stuff. Again, keep in mind, Bitfinex is a pretty underregulated exchange, and they've both companies have shared some banking issues over the past few months in 2017. So we're going to be talking about all of that on the channel later down the road, and hopefully we can get as much awesome resources as we can get. Hopefully we could possibly get Bitfinex and other people in the community on, get a debate going. I want to talk about it because this genuinely concerns me if we're playing with hundreds of millions of dollars here, and there's really a lack of transparency that Tether has yet to answer on. So that being said, everyone, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Guys, I want to hear what you all think about this. Again, let's start the discussion now. What do you all think about Tether? Do you think that there's enough to really kind of instigate some serious questioning here for both Tether and possibly Bitfinex, if you know about all the connections? I'd love to hear what you all think down in the comments down below, if you think this is really just fun at the end of the day. Again, not here to try to scare the market or do anything. I'm just simply here to share what I've learned, share what I've kind of researched over the past few days, and help you all get a better understanding of it in a broken down format. All right? Anyways, everyone, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned.